Good afternoon, Mr. and Mrs. Bunham. Thank you for joining me via WebEx to discuss Joe's progress. I want to remind you that if you desire, we can include a translator for this meeting. What is that? No? Okay. Thank you for responding to that. I also want to inquire to you that if you or someone you may know may be interested, on Wednesday nights, we have courses offered here at the school. These are adult courses. They're to better families of multi-language backgrounds to understand each other a little better with English courses. This is not mandatory, but may be beneficial and may benefit Joe and his siblings. I will go ahead and email you the flyer, and if those times do not work, we also provide pre-recorded classes that you can play at your own discretion. Moving along, I wanted to share with you what a joy Joe has been to be in my class. He is very sweet, third grader. He has so much respect for staff and his peers and is always willing to help any of the other students. He was even a student who struggled making friends, and he taught the student a TikTok dance. He said actually that he learned it from you, Mr. Bunham. This is to add, Joe is a great storyteller. He has so much detail and able to recall events and also he likes talking about you guys. As Joe has a great way of telling stories, he sometimes struggles putting these stories together on paper. Although I understand he has difficulties focusing and sitting still with his ADHD, he has made progress in sitting still. Joe also struggles to complete assignments and work independently. As Joe has a great way of telling stories, he sometimes struggles putting these stories together on paper. Now we will take a little time on talking about two IFSP IEP goals in two different areas from the CDC developmental milestones of Common Core. So standard 3 is literary response and analysis. Is Joe able to respond to literacy texts from a range of stances, personal and interpretive, that are critical? So this standard is to explain the main ideas or events that develop in an author and the message they're trying to convey. So Joe will be able to describe what happened in a story and why. Standard 5 is writing rhetoric. So he's able to speak more on a topic given facts or detail from other sources, add details and descriptions in writing to speak more on the meaning. So now let's move along and speak about how we're going to implement these with the 3 different tiers. So tier 1 in general education, in Joe's class, we're providing text that you have provided about Taiwanese culture. Thank you for that. We all enjoy reading it. It's All in the Stars is the book you guys provided. The teacher reads this book along with other books that have been provided from other parents of similar cultures, as well as ones outside of Joe's culture. We do this for Joe to be immersed in both cultures and be familiar and find out what he's comfortable with. Joe then uses these stories to retell what the story is about. He writes details and descriptions of what he thought the author was attempting to convey. So in tier 2, we use small groups. In the small groups of ELL, we use iReady programs with the groups to build on adjectives. With learning adjectives, we can formulate more description words and think outside of the box as to what the author infers. We gather and share as a small group what was read, as well as adjectives to create an outline of the author's main ideas. By using iReady, we can monitor the progress of each student in the classroom. By using a small group, each student has an opportunity to give details about one's cultural experiences and family backgrounds related to the text. In tier 3, we're going to use one-on-one instruction. So we'll work on sequencing one-on-one with Joe. We'll create a timer and token system that will be used while working on verbs and sequencing. This program will also introduce stories in Joe's native language. We will then read the same story with Joe, but in English. Joe will then understand the story and concepts enough to describe the story in detail, organize information to be able to retell the story. And I've also provided some links that I'm going to email to you guys that are resources for at home. So the first link we have here is a dual language book to read at home. So there's different stories on there that are in Taiwanese as well as English. So you can read them in both languages. And also, I want to encourage you to ask Joe what do you think the author meant, what do you think they felt, how do you think your brother would feel, how do you think dad would feel if this happened to him. And also encourage Joe to ask these open-ended questions. That way, he's able to express himself verbally and write it down as well. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know if I spoke too fast or if there's anything else you guys would like to know.